happy and we're singing and we're colored. Give me a high five.
What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, here with two of my brothers from another mothers. We got a couple mothers in the stratosphere, a whole bunch of brothership going on. But I got my guy Big Game James here and my guy George Carmi. What's going on, brothers? What's going on, y'all?
Good, man. It's happy to be here, man. Happy Sunday. How you guys doing?
Doing good, doing good. It's nice and sunny out here. It's supposed to be 86 out in this piece, so I'm feeling good.
Yeah, nice, James man. Feeling good. He looking good, feeling good. I'm happy for you, dog.
My man's won. My man, let me jump in here because we was talking about off screen. Let me go ahead and jump in again and interrupt you right quick. Feel me? you seen the Mavs. I told you on May 4th that the Mavs was upsetting OKC. They was upsetting OKC May 1st. I made a tweet. I told y'all we was going to do it. We beat them in 6. I think I made a video with my guy who does Mavericks video, and I said in 6, but we'll go back and replay that. But I just felt like, first of all, OKC is a dog team. They are dogs. But in my opinion, they just still young. They're still young pups. They're going to be a force to reckon with in years to come because they got a squad. But right now, I just think that we just got our stars a little bit more ready, or more veteran. And when Kyrie came in, I think that really was the stabilizer. Let me tell you something. One last thing. Dallas Cowboys, I'm going to just say it. Take a page from these other Dallas Cowboys, especially these Mavs, because they stayed aggressive. PJ Washington made them free throws to win the game. Y'all traded for him. Y'all could have stayed with Grant Williams. Y'all traded him right before that deadline, upped your team. And now look, staying aggressive works. Just saying.
Shoot, I'm a Brooklyn Nets fan. We suck, so I ain't got nothing to say about basketball.
I'm a Wizards fan. I'm a DC through and through. Something like that.
We live in vicariously. Go ahead.
As a Commanders fan, I want to give James credit for winning that Jaden Daniels jersey on the show today, man. I appreciate that, man.
No, see, there you go. See, okay, there you go. No, let's go ahead and tell the truth. We rocking my cousin. Don't you do that, George. See, George already with the jokes today. He already with the Jaden Daniels.
I love it. So as you can see, we do have George back, man. It's always an amazing time to have him on here. And we actually have some good news. So the whole story behind this whole Best of Enemies, especially with me and James, was we were good friends that had a very big opposition when it came to football. And honestly, George fit the bill perfectly. He's a good friend of ours. We talked to him on and off the show. So after last week's show, we basically asked him if he, had time to just join Best of Enemies. If he wanted to be one of the Best of Enemies, he did join. So we're excited that he will be on here as much as he can be. I'm sure, every week if we can make it happen. But it's exciting to have another guy on the show, especially somebody that we get along with and just have good conversations with. So I'm excited about that. Welcome to the show, George. You've always been a Best of Enemy. You've always been one of the brothers.
I'm blessed to be here, man. I love both of you guys. We've been talking for years and years. I think it's awesome for anybody, even the people listening in the chat, like having insight from all three teams, hearing the inside scoop. I'm feet on the ground. I'm in DC. I go to training camp. I'm a season ticket holder. I create content, so I'm happy to be here and learn from you guys too. And simply BS too, man. You guys are funny as hell. So I like being on the show on Sundays. I'm happy to be here, man.
Yeah, and the Washington Commanders look pretty good this year. They looking pretty good this year.
That's why we said we go ahead and throw you on here this year because y'all might actually have a team. So we're gonna go ahead and slide you in on here now, George. Now y'all got something to talk about.
I have a seat at the table now. I got a seat at the table. I appreciate it. All right, cool.
You're at the big kids there, I'm just kidding. But shout out to everybody in the chat. We already got over 85 people in the chat. Be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe. Be sure to go follow George, man. We have his links in the description, so definitely go follow George. Go show mad love. He puts out amazing content. Him and it's Big Doug, right?
Yeah,
Big Doug. They put out amazing content, have amazing guests on there. So show love. But enough of the hug fest. Let's get back to the Best of Enemy. Oh, did you have something to say? My bad.
Quick plug. I have a huge guest on Wednesday. All you guys, Joe and JB, you guys should come by too. Jim Nagy's coming on our show on Wednesday. Advisor, man. So come by, check it out, dude. You guys go in there. You guys talk about you were at the Senior Bowl. Jump
yes, sir.
It'd be fantastic.
Dog, that's huge. That's huge, bro, because he's like the godfather for real.
He's awesome. He really is fantastic. So I'm happy to have him on. Be cool.
Senior Bowl is like blowing up. Senior Bowl is really blowing it up. And I think that a couple of us, most of our teams got a couple guys from the Senior Bowl. So really, really interesting to see where the trajectory for that Senior Bowl, because I think it's going to become the bowl. I think that, you know, their slogan is the draft starts in mobile. It really seems like it's going to be that way. A lot of really good players going there now, that especially you can have juniors there. So I'm excited to see next year. I know me and James will be there. We might have to drag you out there too, George. That might actually,
I would love to go. It'd be awesome. Man. Really cool.
That might be the moves. Yeah, we made it cheap. We made it happen last time. We made it pretty cheap.
We made it work. So it'll be good. But, you know, we talked about this, Joe, remember how the combine used to be the thing. Like back in the day, the combine was the thing. I really feel like the Senior Bowl has really took over the combine. It's right before the combine. You're doing pretty much all the drills, but you're doing them live with players. And you get a better evaluation of the players because they're getting live action against these other top kids. And I feel like it's going to replace eventually that combine, where the combine is just, okay, it just didn't feel like the combine was the thing. It felt like that Senior Bowl with those juniors, that was where you really got the great evaluation. And a lot of players came out of that Senior Bowl this year, a lot of players.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see what happens, but let's get into what we came here to do. We came here to talk about the schedule. Obviously, the NFL offseason is moving, man. We still got a long time to go, but it's moving, and it's slowly moving. So we got to see the schedule. We got to see where everybody's going to be playing. Before we get into that, I want to kind of precursor it with this, and we'll start with you, George. I want to know where you are with your team. How do you feel about your team? Because that's going to be a big part of going into the schedule and maybe making some predictions about how you're feeling about this team going into it. What type of season are you looking for out of your Commanders?
So it's a complete clean slate. I think that's what we're walking into with Washington. We have no idea what's going to happen. We talked about it last time when I was on the show. Washington was 4-13 last year, 0-6 in the NFC East. It was an awful year, guys. I'm a season ticket holder, as I shared before. I went there. We won our first game at home, 7 straight losses at home. It was miserable going watching the games while it's raining, snowing. It's gross out there. But I think the team gave up on Ron Rivera. I think his message was lost. He's more of like a culture builder. He's more of a, I'm going to instill values in you. He's not really an X and O kind of guy. And I think after they traded away Montez Sweat and Chase Young at the trade deadline, Washington they kind of in the locker room, they knew they're punting on the season, and they kind of started pointing fingers at each other. So flash forward to this year, I think we have a clean slate. I think it's also kind of a beautiful thing because we have no idea what's going to happen, right? We could be 4-13 again, or we could be a 7, 8, 9 team. We have no idea. But I think ultimately we're going to be more talented because we got rid of 57% of our team. 13 new starters. We have a brand new team walking. This is not the same Commanders as last year. We're not rolling out Sam Howell. We're rolling out Jane Daniels, Heisman Trophy winner. So that being said, I think Jane Daniels, he's going to be the guiding light. Is he going to be legit? Is he going to be C.J. Stroud, or is he going to be Zach Wilson or Will Levis or whatever that's going to be, right? We have no idea what it's going to turn out to be. But I'm optimistic. We'll talk about it more on the show. But I think Jane Daniels so far, it's been positive. They said he's very accurate at training camp. They said he's doing great with his protections and calling out things at the line. So we're looking pretty good there. And I don't think the schedule is too daunting. And we'll get there in a little bit. But I don't feel overwhelmed. I think, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and same question for you, James. I know a lot of Eagles fans, especially, are probably wondering how y'all feel. But yeah, how you feeling about your team so far?
I mean, I'm just in the question mark stage right now with the team because I think there are just a lot of our question marks. You have a new defensive coordinator, Mike Zimmer. I call him Grandpa Zimmer. He's almost 70 years old, so he's Grandpa now. But I'll give him his props because you know what? I think what Zimmer can bring is that discipline, what we've been lacking, that toughness, what we've been lacking. And I think that, his philosophy is going to help a lot of players, especially Mazi. His season last year was well documented, and we definitely need him to step up because right now he's the main defensive tackle in the room, and he's still recovering off shoulder surgery. But I like the principles that he's bringing. Our linebacker room got a little bit better, but there's a lot of unknowns, because we're still seeing if they're going to pick up any more free agents after June 1st cut. Dak is still in limbo with his contract. CeeDee Lamb is still in limbo with his contract. And you still have your Mike McCarthy as your pretty much a lame duck right now because he doesn't have an extension. So It's a lot of question marks in my opinion, from my perspective, because it's a lot of unknown. You don't know how this is going to mesh with McCarthy and Zimmer. And like I said, you lost quite a few players and you didn't really replenish. The draft was pretty good. So really, these rookies in the last year class, Joe and Joe and George, it's got to step up. Those young players that they've drafted in these last like 3 years, they're got to play an integral part of this team.
James, sorry, James, what's the feeling with like the leaving of Dan Quinn and the whole defensive staff going? Because like, for me,
we hate Dan Quinn.
You hate Dan Quinn? Okay, I'll say honestly, I thought like when I watch it from afar, I thought that Dallas' defense was on point, man. I thought the defensive backs were strong. I thought they played to the ball. I thought they were great, and that's why getting Dan Quinn I was somewhat excited about. But you guys hate him over there? Like you're not worried that he left? What's your thoughts about that?
Oh, we don't like him at all. We at least from my perspective, and a lot of people that I know, we ain't fooling with no Dan Quinn, because if we look at the defense the first 2 years that he was the coach, I mean, it was like you had your linebackers, you were attacking defense, you were really making waves, and just a lot of us felt that he really wanted that head coaching job, and that he was really interviewing. He really took the job for his next job, and it just felt like. I don't know if there were promises that you could have been the head coach of Dallas. What went wrong with that? But it just seemed like the philosophy that he usually had the first couple of years, now all of a sudden you're getting rid of linebackers, you're converting safeties, the linebackers, you're making Mozzie. We heard it's documented that he he was wanting Mozzie to lose weight, wanted to play more of a 3-tech, and Mozzie was a 0 and a 1. So a lot of questions arise, like, what was this guy really doing his last year? And then we saw the defensive performance against the Green Bay Packers. Now, I know it wasn't just the defense, it was the offense as well, but that defense came out lethargic. It came out just, we don't know what that was. And so a lot of us just feel like, honestly, that he sabotaged it. He felt like he had a job, he was leaving, get out of here, go, and we ain't worried about this. And that's one of the reasons why I said, like a lot of people said, when a coach decides that he probably wants to take a job or he's getting interviewed, then that coach got to go. You take another assistant coach and let him coach the team, because now it deflects the team, it deflates the team, and it takes away from the team. When you see these college coaches that get a job right before a bowl game, they get rid of them and they have somebody else coach the team, because it does something to those kids mentally. And I felt like it did something to the Cowboys mentally. And so when Dan Quinn left, all of a sudden he's getting linebackers again. All of a sudden he's building up his defensive line again. All those things that we wanted him to do in Dallas, he's doing in Washington now. So now we like, okay, Dan Quinn, go to hell. So when we play you, the rivalry is back on, and we're trying to bash your brains out now.
All right.
Jordan's like, okay, all right.
I'm looking forward to it. That's fun. All right, cool. Okay.
I mean, hey, it's crazy how the dichotomy of the NFC East is kind of changing in our face. And we said it when we were doing the mock draft with you, George, that it's like, this is probably the perfect time for you guys to just go into a full rebuild, because outside of the Eagles, every team is either old or not that good. Like the Cowboys are a good team, and I'm not going to sit here and lie and say they aren't, but they are getting older. There's a lot of decisions that they have to make at key positions. Now, they're going to make them
one of the youngest teams in the league, dog. What you talking about?
Quarterback is one of the most important positions on the field. You obviously already had to make a decision on your offensive line, so you are getting younger. Don't get me wrong, but you're not at key positions, especially quarterback. You either have to pay your guys coming up, so they might not be old, but you got to pay them top dollar, or they're older and you probably don't want to pay them. So maybe I misspoke. So Dak Prescott is older, so you got to figure that out. And you have to figure out a lot of big money situations. So maybe not older. Maybe older was the wrong adjective. But I feel like outside of the Eagles are young. We have most of our big, positions figured out. Obviously, we still got to kind of figure out what these young guys are going to do, what Saquon's going to give us, what guys are going to give us. But on paper, we have a pretty darn good team for now and the future. So personally, going into this season, I think that the Eagles are their own worst enemy. And that's not to, belittle anybody else in the division or, poo-poo on our schedule. But I think if the Eagles can stay healthy, if they can stay out of their own way, don't do stupid things, because, last year it really we lost. We lost. I mean, you can sit there and go through every single game and be like, oh, the Giants beat you because of this and that. Cowboys beat you because of this and that, which is true. But at the same time, the Eagles just fell apart. So I think that if the Eagles can stay out of their own way, stay healthy, and maybe believe in their coach for 17 games, I think that they can do something very, very special. But this division is right up in the air. I mean, I don't know who Washington's going to be. I don't know who Dak Prescott's going to be on a contract year or a prove-it year. We've seen him go crazy before in those situations. So just sitting here saying, hey, they don't got this, they don't got that, but they do have what they have. You guys have what you have. We don't know what Jamie Daniels is going to be. So I think it's going to be a very interesting year from the NFC East. I don't think it's going to be as cut and dry as most seasons have been. But the Eagles, I feel like they retooled in the same way. They still got a lot of guys that are going to help this team out, went crazy in free agency. So it really it's all about what they do. I know it's probably a cop-out, but it's the truth that we've seen the Eagles with good teams before. It's all about how they utilize the players and how those players fit into our system. So I'm excited, but we'll see.
I think it's
leadership. Well, we're going to see.
Right?
Yeah.
To George's point, it is leadership. It is like, who is your leader? Like, we just lost Fletcher Cox. Brandon Graham is older. Obviously, we're gonna have him this year, but somebody's gonna have to step up to the same respect that James said with his team. Somebody's gonna have to step up. Somebody's gonna have to be that guy that says, "No, we're not gonna go out here and lose." A great example is the 49ers game. Mm-hmm. I need somebody to go out there and fight back. And I'm hoping CGJ is that guy because he's been that guy. Even this offseason, he's been arguing with people and stuff. So I'm hoping he's that guy that could just go out there and be like, "Nah, you're not going to come over here and push us around. We're going to push you around." Mm-hmm. So that's, for me, it's all mentality. It really is all mentality. The players are there. Obviously, they got to play well, but the mentality has to be right. And that's what killed us last year. That, in my opinion, that's really what killed us. Just a weak mentality. We'll see, though. We'll see. But shout out to everybody. Go ahead.
You know what? You know what my opinion, though, Joe? You got the same thing that we're dealing with, in my opinion. Y'all got two different coordinators now. So y'all can talk about all the free agency all you want and your great draft and whatever. But at the end of the day, you had a coach that he was on the hot seat from last year. There was a lot of talk about him. And now you have a Kellen Moore who a lot of people in Dallas didn't like. And we can't say that was a great season over there with the Chargers. So, yeah, you have to see how that's going to mesh. You got to see how a Kellen Moore and a Jalen Hurts is going to mesh, because that's going to be huge. If they don't mesh, that's not going to be a good offense. And then you got Vic Fangio, who's your new defensive coordinator. And, yes, you did want him like a year ago, but now you do have him. So you have to see how that defense is going to work under him. Just because he had success at other places doesn't mean it's going to be hit the ground running in Philadelphia. So in my opinion, you got question marks within your offense and your defense within your coordinators, because these guys are fresh, these guys are new, and we got to see what system that's happening. So you can have all the great players you want, but if your coordinators or coaches don't mesh, you saw last year where your struggles from your offensive coordinator, how big that changed your team. So this is going to be, to me, a question mark, from my opinion, on the Eagles, on both sides of the ball.
The NFL is crazy because you have a small window, right? It's like almost like ideal circumstances to win the actual Super Bowl, right? You have to have a cheap quarterback, you have to have an offensive coordinator that believes in them, not having injuries. You have to be all there together. I think Philadelphia has a great team on paper, but I'm kind of curious about the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, Jason Kelce being gone now. It's going to be kind of a concern there as well. And does the team believe in Sirianni? I don't know about that. We saw the team kind of turn on him halfway through the year, so I'm not sure how we feel.
Yeah, I will say, just like, and I don't know, obviously, I don't know, I'm not in the locker room, but just looking at previous seasons from Eagles, especially, with our coaches, you look at Chip Kelly, you look at Doug Peterson, I feel like if they didn't think this team believed in them, they wouldn't keep them around. But obviously, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. And you guys are 100% right. That's why I don't talk too much about that, because I don't know what we're going to be. I don't know what Kellen Moore wants to do with this offense. The defense, I'm a little bit more confident, just because I feel like instead of getting the guy that works at McDonald's and makes burgers, you went to Gordon Ramsay and he's making you a burger now. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's the guy that invented this defense. So I'm hoping he can kind of figure out what went wrong with it, maybe putting the, people in the right position. We obviously went and got a lot of different type of players, more athleticism, which I think we need, especially on the edge and as our linebackers. As much as I hate to see a guy like Hassan Reddick leave, I think that it made sense for the defense you're trying to run. So we'll see what happens. You guys are 100% right. I can't really sit here and say, no, we're going to be amazing. We got time. But shout out to everybody in the chat. We got 214 people in the chat. Be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, join the family wherever you are. I want to get into the strength of schedule real quick because people love this. I love to let people know that it's literally 0.1 difference between the top and the bottom. So I know a lot of people are going to bring this up, but we're all basically in the middle. I know last year Eagles and Dallas, I think, had the hardest strength of schedule, but this year we're kind of all in the middle. You see Dallas right there. You see the Giants kind of at the top, which is kind of weird. And then you see Washington. Where is Washington?
Right in the middle, 16.
Right in the middle, yeah. And the Eagles right there as well. So, I mean, there's really I've said this a million times for the Eagles, but there's no excuse really for any of these teams. I think that we are in the position we are. I think that we're going to go against a lot. Like you kind of said, Washington, George, I was about to say Washington, George.
Got that Washington on his brain.
Exactly.
But like you said, I don't think that any of these schedules are too like intrusive, too crazy. We're going to have chances. So I want to go through the schedules. Maybe we can get maybe we can get like a prediction going as well.
James? Yeah,
James, run, James, run. But we'll start with you. George, since you're the new enemy. You know what I'm saying? We'll start with you. We'll
go best enemy.
You know what I'm saying? Talk to me. So I think your schedule actually starts on 9/23, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it starts on 9/8 actually. So the way the schedule works, the top three are the preseason games. So we play the Jets and the Dolphins, and our home game is the Patriots. So if you look at the schedule for you, if you guys watching on YouTube, all the white games are the home games and the dark games are the away games. So we start off away at Tampa Bay. It's interesting. As a Commanders fan, I think that's winnable. Like, I'm not scared of Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay was a surprise playoff team, and you guys know about that in Philadelphia, man. They had an upset win. But
all right, George.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how I feel about them big time. I mean, it's going to be interesting week one. You never know what's going to happen. Hopefully, we can kind of like unleash a new offense with Jaden Daniels, like RPO and running. We have no idea what's going to happen in DC, so I'm not scared about that. So start off with Tampa Bay, start off with the Giants. I think both of those games are winnable. The Giants give us a hard time, and they beat us both times last year. Like, I hate this because the Giants are like one of the shit. Well, I don't want to cuss in your show. One of the worst teams in the entire league.
You're allowed to cuss. You're allowed to cuss.
They're one of the shittiest teams in the NFL, right? But they always beat the Commanders for one reason or another. I don't know why that always happens, but let's say we split with the Bucs and the Giants. Hopefully we get 2-0. But let's say we split. We go into Monday Night Football against the Bengals. And the prestige there is we have two LSU Heisman Trophy quarterbacks going against each other, Joe Burrow versus Jaden Daniels. That'll be a lot of fun. It's actually in Cincinnati. I don't see us winning that game. We go to Arizona. Cliff Kingsbury goes back to Arizona. We get to see Kyler Murray versus Jaden Daniels. And, guys, I'm telling you, man, the buzz in D.C. is like we have a quarterback like Kyler Murray. We have a quarterback like Lamar Jackson. We have like an action, fun, running quarterback. So it's going to be a fun game. In Arizona versus D.C., Marvin Harrison Jr., that'd be a fun game to watch too. I'm not scared there. I think Washington can win that game. Going against the Browns. Browns is just so funny, man, because they have an awesome team on paper, but I don't believe in Deshaun Watson, man. He's been a mess ever since he left Houston. He's been falling off. Yeah. He had that awesome year in Houston. We thought he was going to become like a rising star, but like too many distractions off the field. It's been bad chemistry there in Cleveland. Nick Chubb's coming off an ACL injury. We don't really know what's going to happen with there. So I'm not worried about that one. Go playing the Ravens. That's gonna be an interesting game, man. Ravens, that's gonna be fun. So Jaden Daniels' idol is Lamar Jackson. So the talk in DC. Now I live in Maryland, so it's like the whole like Beltway series. It's gonna basically be Ravens versus DC. Lamar versus Jaden Daniels will be a lot of fun. I think the Ravens are the class of the league, and they're an awesome team, so they're probably going to beat us there. So looking at the first 6 games, we're looking at about 500 football right there. The one thing I want to point out is if you look at Ravens, Carolina, Bears, Giants, Steelers, we basically don't travel that much at all. Baltimore's 45 minutes away from DC. Carolina's a short flight. It's that's not that far. Sorry, Carolina's at home, actually. I'm sorry about that. So we go to Baltimore, home game, New York, home game. So like over 1 month, we barely travel at all, which is fantastic, right? And then we go to Thursday Night Football against the Eagles. And dude, I mean, you guys have a better team on paper. I'm not gonna lie about that, but we play you guys hard. I mean, we took you all to overtime last year. We beat you guys when you were 11-0 2 years ago. So we in DC, we're not scared. I'm gonna put that out there. It's gonna be a good match. I'm excited about it. But on paper, you guys are better. Then we go against the Cowboys. I was hoping it'd be on Thanksgiving, but it's a week before. We have that home game, and then we rounded out with the Titans, Saints, Falcons, and Cowboys. So like looking at that, like all of us, we play the NFC South, which isn't really a dominating division. I think we can get some wins. We can stack up some wins there. It's all going to be about playing against each other and who's going to get those wins in those games. So we'll see what's up there.
It's going to be a good one. So if you had to maybe a record prediction, a light one, it's still early. It's so early.
Yeah. So I wrote it down because I knew you were probably going to ask me this. So I wrote it down, and I'm going to be cautiously optimistic. I'm going to go like 8-9 is what I'm going to do. Hopefully we jump that. I guess that's being optimistic. I think it's going to come down to who we're going to beat, what's going to happen. I think the Cowboys, we'll see what happens there. Like I'm predicting you guys are probably going to be playoff bound. So week 18 or whatever that's going to be, you probably maybe like benching starters at that point. Maybe we'll see what's going on. That's why I see a win there. I see us splitting with the Giants, splitting with the Eagles. It's going to be pretty interesting. So 8-9 right now. Hopefully we can be a little bit better. And yeah, like we're saying here, but 500 team for a rebuild, that's fine. And Vegas has us at 6.5 right now. So I can see us kind of, maybe jumping that. I'm excited about that.
You're good. That's it. I'm excited to see what you guys are going to be. I know James probably isn't, but I'm excited to see what you guys are going to be with a new coach. And
I want Washington to be good. I mean, it makes it better for our division when Washington's good. I ain't hating as long as they don't win.
100%.
Exactly. Hey, it's interesting because this is something you guys had to do for a long time. We've been talking about your owner for years upon years. There was kind of a running joke at a point, and now he's gone, and now you got a coach that, I mean, I love, I've told you before, I love Ron Rivera on a personal level just because of what he's done for my culture. But outside of that, he's not, the coach that's going to get you to a Super Bowl. I love him. He's done it before. That was impressive when he did it. I don't think he's going to do it again. But
he's not coming back. And sorry, go on. Finish off with that. I'll jump in a second. Go ahead.
Oh, no. Yeah. So I think it's amazing. I'm excited to see what you guys are going to be. It's a brand new slate for you, though.
I agree. And to finish off my thought, I don't know if Dan Quinn is either. And I'm sure the Dallas fans are like, hell no, he's not. But I think he built up a strong staff. That's what I'm excited about. Yeah. I think what he did was he added Cliff Kingsbury, former head coach, to be the quarterback coach. He's an offensive coordinator, but one thing, we just had Zach Selby on Wednesday on Friday on my show. He's a commanders.com writer. He came on and he was talking to us about how hands-on Cliff Kingsbury's been with the quarterbacks and, working with them side by side. He's a former quarterback himself. So him working with Jaden Daniels, man, he worked wonders with Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray won Rookie of the Year with Cliff Kingsbury. So that's exciting for us. We have Anthony Lynn, who was with the 49ers last year, was a former head coach as well. He's going to do our run install. He's going to bring a Shanahan run offense to us. So I'm excited about it. And plus our defense, I think, if anything, Dan Quinn's good at defense, right? So Dan Quinn, Joe Witt kind of bringing our defense together. I think we're going to be a tough out regardless of what our schedule is going to be. I think we're going to be fighting next year. So I'm excited about that.
So let me ask you one last question, and then we'll switch on over to the Cowboys. What is realistic? Because, I mean, we all have, our perfect scenarios, what we'd love to see happen. But what do you think is a realistic best scenario for Washington this year?
I think best case scenario, starting off the basic level, is Jaden Daniels looks good and he's healthy, right? If he leaves the year, if he comes out hey, we got a dude, right? We got a CJ Stroud. We got a healthy RG3. We have a Kyler Murray, that's Rookie of the Year kind of thing. That's step one. If we have him looking good, then I think everything else falls in place because we are in a rebuild, right? This is complete. We gutted everything, new owner, new GM, new everything, new quarterback, but we are starting from scratch. So if we're winning 7 games, 8 games on a rebuild, as someone said in the chat, that's playing with house money right there. We're looking pretty good. So that's the basics. But I think like sky's the limit, man. Like one thing I want to say, we know Dak Prescott, Hurts are awesome. We know they're good quarterbacks. But, it's not crazy to say that Jaden Daniels has the highest upside walking into this right now, man. Injury is the biggest concern, but he's a rookie coming in, Heisman Trophy winner. He could be right there with you guys. We're excited about that. We're looking forward to that.
It's gonna be. I'm excited. This is gonna be a good year. Like we said even before the show, like that's one of the reasons why we wanted to bring you on here is because we know that it's gonna be such great matches. We obviously love you, George, but so we're excited about that. All right. Now, James, I heard the birds chirping on your side.
I heard that.
James living the life, bro. I ain't even mad at it, bro. I love it. But we got 265 people in here so far. Be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe. I'm gonna keep reminding y'all, but the Cowboys play football this year too, right? Remove all the off the field stuff that's happening, all the podcasts and stuff that y'all do. But talk to me, James, about your schedule. Walk me through it, man. How you feeling about it?
Well, they said we had one of the tougher schedules from last year. I'm looking at it because, we got some squads on here. First, you start off with, I'm excited about week 1 because we don't play the freaking Giants on week 1. I mean, we play them every year on week 1. It's annoying. And for you to actually throw an AFC team on week 1, I thought that was great for the schedule makers for them to do that, especially the Cleveland Browns. I think that's just a polar opposite team. Amari Cooper is there. So I think that brings a little bit more of an edge to it because a lot of people are still upset about that trade, about letting Amari Cooper go for that 5th round. And he went over and had a pretty good season over there at Cleveland, right? So a lot of people were frustrated about that. But to George's point, I just don't think Deshaun Watson is that guy. He's been much maligned, and I don't know if his career is going to take the turn that it was turning before he basically had the things that happened. So that's going to be a great matchup. I feel good about it, though. The Saints always give us a tough time just because it's right next to Dallas. It's real kind of personal right there. So that's a personal game. But I feel good that, we can get after the Saints. Baltimore Ravens, that'll be a tough game, obviously, because we have trouble with the running quarterback, Lamar Jackson. I still don't fear his passing. I don't care. I still don't. I don't think he scares me in the passing game. But when he breaks that pocket, that's when he's dangerous. And plus, they got a really good defense over there. Ravens, that'll be a tough game. Giants, I ain't worried about no Giants. Steelers, that's a rival for me. So that game is always personal.
Really?
Yes. Steelers, Cowboys, what? I've been there since the 70s, dog. That's
true. But I never hear that. That's cool.
Yeah, I hate the Steelers, bro. They in my top 5 of hatred, dog. I was there in them 70s. I used to cry when they beat us, dog.
Classic rivalry right there. Exactly.
Yeah, that's a rivalry. That's always a rivalry, no matter what. So
before you go on, James, I'm sorry to cut you off, man. But we have like a real wide range of ages. Talk to me about that. Why are they a rival? Because I think some of our younger fans are probably like, why the Steelers out of everybody? Talk to me about that, because you were through, because you guys did have a pretty strong hatred of each other when you guys both were amazing.
Yes, it was hatred. The 70s was the year. It was the Steelers. They owned the 70s. They got pretty much all their Super Bowls in the 70s, so they were the top dogs, and we were the up and coming team. We were, getting our feet up underneath us, and it was one of those. It just kind of it was a personal game. I don't know why it became so personal, but it was like they were the top dogs. We were the up and coming guys. And then we started being the guys over in the NFC. And then once we clashed, they were just like epic battles. They were personal. These teams actually hated each other. And so, whenever we played them, the world stopped. That's how big that rivalry was. The world stopped when Cowboys and Steelers played. And we were going back and forth in those 70s. We played against each other in 2 Super Bowls, and those were classic Super Bowls. Those weren't just regular Super Bowls. Those were classics. You had them both go down to the wire pretty much. And then you look at the players on each side. One thing is a rivalry, but when you got Hall of Fame players on both sides of the ball, and Pittsburgh had 20 Hall of Famers. Cowboys had 15 Hall of Famers. You feel what I'm saying? So these games were just so intense. And then each year, like in the 80s, the 90s, I mean, they just were always classic games. And it just was like, we hate them, they hate us. And no matter what, that always is going to be. And if you're a true Cowboys fan and you've been around my era, you will always hate the Steelers.
I'm glad. Thank you. Because you see some people in here like, oh, I'm a '90s kid. I don't even know about that. Like, so I just wanted to thank you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's hatred.
Good education.
So I think it'll be different this year because obviously they don't have the Kenny Pickett, right? They have the Russell Wilson and the Justin Fields now. So I feel like that changes the game a little bit with Pittsburgh. But I feel good about beating them. I don't think they're a strong team. You know what I'm saying? So I feel good.
How do you
Detroit
guys feel
Lions.
about How do you guys feel about Russell Wilson and Fields?
You know, that's very intriguing, especially with Mike Tomlin being there.
Yeah.
I want to see how that dynamic works with Tomlin being the coach. I think he's the perfect coach to deal with those two quarterbacks. So that's why I like it. I ain't gonna lie, I like that dynamic over there. I want to see it because I like Mike Tomlin. I've always liked him as a coach. And, you know, whenever he's had a pretty decent quarterback, his teams win, right? So, you know, Russell Wilson, they said he's done, but I thought he played pretty good toward the end of the season with the Broncos. He got him some victories. And then Justin Fields is kind of like the wild card. You know, what are they really going to do with him? You know, are they going to put him in packages? You know, so that's just a lot of intrigue with both of those guys there of what you can really do. And if I was a head coach, I would love it because I'm throwing in all kind of different packages. So you never know what's going on.
I like Tomlin. I think if anyone can get anything out of Wilson or Fields, it is Mike Tomlin. I think he's that motivator, right? So it is kind of interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah, I think Wilson got lucky, to be honest with you. Wilson, I mean, this is the second life to his career. So God bless him. And honestly, the way I didn't love him going into, you know, Denver. Like I wasn't a big fan of him. You know, especially because of everything going on with the Eagles and him being connected to us. I didn't want that. But seeing how they played him,
dirty.
I was like, bro, I hope you nothing but success, except for against the Eagles. So I'm excited to see it. I think Tomlin's very, very underrated as a coach too.
Very underrated. And I mean, that's why he's been there that long. I mean, because he wins. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're getting there every year. And if you're getting there every year, you have a chance. So that's going to be a big game. And it's going to be a night game, NBC. That's going to be one of the most watched, trust and believe, especially if both records are good. Then we got Detroit Lions. I don't know what to say about the Detroit Lions. It's a funny team because it's like the Lions always play us tough, no matter what. If they're good or if they are terrible, they always play us tough. So now they got a squad. And it's at home again. So, you know, we'll talk about that at the end when I give you my prediction. But, you know, that's going to be another good game. But definitely a game that we can win. Then we have the bye, which is good. Usually we don't have a bye around this time. Then we're at San Francisco. I don't know about that. You know what I'm saying? Night game at San Francisco. They've been our nemesis for so many years. I don't know what to say about San Francisco.
I want you to beat them if I'm being honest.
I want us to beat them, but you know what? I can't say nothing no more. The last couple of years, I'm like, we're going to beat them, and then we get our ass kicked. So I ain't saying nothing about no San Francisco.
Is that Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football, James?
Sunday night at 8:20. So that's going to be a highly watched game, too. So it's going to be interesting. And when you look at it, you got Detroit Lions, you have your bye, and then you're coming back with San Francisco. So that's going to be real right there. We got the Falcons after that. I ain't worried about no Falcons. I don't care who they have. I'm not worried about them. Then we got Philly at home. I like that because we're at home. I always feel like that's a split. Us at home, them at home. I always just feel like it's a natural split. The game, though, is Houston Texans Monday night.
It'll be fun, man.
Because, you know, everybody's trumping Houston as the new team in Texas now. And woo. I actually feel like they're going to regress this year. I feel like, you know, when you have that surprise first year, and then everybody predicts them, they're going to go this, they're going to do that this year, they're going to be so much better. Nah, I think they take a step back. Doesn't mean that they're not going to be good in future years. Like CJ Stroud is the guy. So I ain't saying he's going to be a bad quarterback, nothing like that. I just don't think they had that magical year, 2 years in a row. I feel like there's going to be some regression that year. But that's going to be a game because CJ Stroud, I ain't going to lie, I feel like he's going to put some pressure on our defense. I really think he is. So that's going to be a game that I don't know about that one. That's going to be a big game right there. Obviously, we got after the Commanders. I think the Commanders, I've already been on record saying the Commanders are going to be a better team. I don't think Dan Quinn is a great head coach. I'm gonna be honest with you. I do not think he's a great head coach, but he always gets really good staffs. I said this before. If you look at his staff that he had in Atlanta, look at all them damn coaches that came from that staff in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Shanahan was his offensive coordinator. You get what I mean? So he had guys over there. So one thing about Dan Quinn, he gets good staff. So I think maybe he knows he may not be the greatest coach. So I surround myself with good people, and it makes me be a better coach. Maybe I think that's what it is. So Commanders, that's going to be a tough game. Giants, ain't worried about y'all. Bengals, I know they got Burrow, but I just feel like we beating Bengals. Ain't worried about no Panthers. Ain't worried about the Bucks. At Philly, we know what that is. It's at Philly that'll be tough. And then the week 18, like I said, we'll have to see what the schedules are like. We'll have to see, what our records are like to see if that's a sit-out game, if that game is going to be meaning something. Because I think it is actually this year. I think this game at the end of the year is going to mean something, and I think Washington might be playing for their playoff lives in that game, and they're going to go out. It's going to be interesting to see where the Cowboys stand and the Washington Commanders stand at the end of the year, because I think that's going to be a huge game, at least on Washington's side.
I agree.
So the question, man. The question. What you thinking, bro? What's the number? What's the number? Give me a number.
We've been 12-5 the last 3 years. I don't feel like I said I think our team is going to regress, but I don't think it's going to regress like a 7-win team. I don't think it's like that. We still have enough talent on both sides of the ball. I think Zimmer helps our defense. So I don't think we're 12-5. I'm gonna go with a 10-7. 10-7. I think we are 10-7 this year. I think we regressed just a little bit. We'll still be in the playoff hunt. I still think we're a playoff. I think we're still a playoff bound team. I don't feel like we missed the playoffs, but I think it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be a three-win race, a 3-team race, especially if Daniels steps his game up. That's going to be huge. If Daniels has a season like a CJ Stroud, then that changes the whole damn game. You get what I'm saying? That changes the whole damn game. So really, the Commanders, like I said last year, y'all's record is going to be dependent on Sam Howell, how he plays. And I feel like the record of the Commanders this year is going to be dependent how that young rookie plays. And if he comes in, hits the ground running, he's going to be a problem. I don't care what nobody tell me.
Yeah.
Hey, James, what's the over-under for the Cowboys this year, like betting-wise, you know?
I don't know. I don't do no betting, bro. I stay away from that. I'm just
That's good. It's probably smart, to be honest with you. Good idea.
Yeah.
Let me see. I'll tell you right now, actually, because I want to know for the Eagles. 10.5.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Yeah,
So
for the right Eagles, about there.
You're right there, yeah. Let me see what they say for this. So 11.5 for us. All right, so we're we're on track right now. We're on track right now. So we got 300 people in the building. Shout out to all y'all. Be sure to hit
Let's
that
hear
like
about these damn Eagles, dog.
We going now. We gonna. One thing I do want to say before I get into the Eagles is I think that is it's perfectly set up for Washington in the sense of you don't really have to play your division games until pretty late, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and then going into the Cowboys game, we have a 10-day window. I think we play like a Thursday night game, and we play the Cowboys the 24th on 10 days of rest. So it looks pretty good. I mean, it is set up pretty nice. We have a good schedule this year.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Now, the class of this division, right.
Oh boy, there you go.
That would be us because we won the division. Y'all choked the division, so you would be.
I was about to say defending, but we can't.
Okay, yeah.
The latest team in the NFC East to make the Super Bowl and win one. We'll say that.
Okay.
But so all right. So the Eagles. This is a tough schedule. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. It's not like last year where we had that, like 5-6 week stretch of just rough games, the gauntlet, as everybody called it. But this is a tough schedule. We start off with our favorite team last year in the playoffs, the Green Bay Packers.
Ooh, I like that one.
And it's a home game, quote unquote. You can't see me, but I'm doing air quotes. But it's in Brazil. So this is going to be a tough one. I hate that we start our year off like this, if I'm being 100% honest.
Yeah, how do you feel about that? Going to Brazil is crazy.
I hate it. I hate every part of it. I mean, that's cool. It's cool that we're one of the international teams. I know it had to be somebody, right? And we do get 10 days off. Like our first couple games are pretty well stretched out that I don't think that is going to affect us too much. But it sucks. I don't really like it. I don't love it. I'd rather start at home. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather this be like the second game or something like that. But either way, you got the Green Bay Packers. Look, man, I think that last year against the Dallas Cowboys wasn't necessarily a fluke. I think them beating you was a fluke in a lot of different ways. Like you guys kind of beat yourselves more than they, went out there and just mollywopped y'all. But they are a good team. I think that Jordan Love is a good player. I think they won like the last 5 or 6 of their games going into the playoffs. So it's not like they were a trash team. I'm not going to sit here and say we're going to blow them out, but I do think that we can beat them. I think that the only thing that's really going against us is the Brazil. I think that they don't know who we are, just as we know kind of what they want to do. But with our new offensive coordinator, our new defensive coordinator, there's going to be some changes for the Eagles. So I think that will kind of surprise attack them a little bit. So I feel confident in the Green Bay game. And then September 16th against the Falcons, I'm gonna quote you, James. I ain't worried about no Falcons. I mean, Kirk Cousins. I ain't worried about no Kirk Cousins, bro. They might have a better shot putting Michael Penix in there. I'm not worried about Kirk Cousins, especially in prime time. So yeah, that's a dub for me. The Saints. It's funny. Back in the day, the Saints used to be like that team that was like, oh, I can't, but we play them every year. I'm so tired of playing them. They beat us every year. But ever since Jalen's been around, we've had we've had good times against them. Let the good times roll. I'm not really afraid of them. Derek Carr. I mean, that's, Chris Olave is good. If Alvin Kamara's healthy, I guess you got to worry about him. But Marshawn Lattimore on the defense, they got good players, but I don't think they're a good team. So I'm not too worried about that. James said he's nervous with Kellen. It can't get much worse than last year for our offense. That's how I feel. Tampa Bay, I live in Tampa, so y'all know I'm going to be at that game. Last year for the regular season, it was like a home game. Everybody out there was what's it called, Eagles fans. So I think we beat them. This isn't a playoff game, so I think we feel good. I don't know why we have a week 5 bye. I'm going to put that as a loss as well. I don't know why our bye is so damn early, but it is what it is. The Browns, they could beat us. I'm going to be real with you. They could definitely beat us, but they're going to have a hell of a game to do it, especially coming to Philly. So I'm not too worried about the Browns. Deshaun Watson does not scare me. Like, I don't know. I'm not a masseuse, so I'm not worried about him too much. The Giants, I think they're going to be trash this year. So I'm not going to spend too much time on them. Neighbors was a great pick, but unfortunately, you need somebody to give him the ball. Absolutely. And I don't think they have that. So it is what it is. The Bengals. Going to Cincinnati is not going to be fun. Going to Cincinnati is not going to be easy. They have a very good team. And if none of these teams before, which I think some of them will be testing your secondary, this is going to be the best test of your secondary. I mean, they have great offensive weapons. So I'm looking forward to that, but that could definitely be a loss. The Jaguars, I think this is fun to have, Doug Peterson come back to Philly. I think the last time we played them was in Jacksonville. I could be wrong about that. But either way, it's fun to have them back. It's going to be a Sunday night football game. I just don't think that they're there. I think that they're a good team. I think they're scrappy. I know Doug Peterson's going to find a way to keep it close.
He's going to go off on y'all.
I don't think so. I mean, I'm not afraid of Trevor Lawrence. I'm not really afraid of him. I think he's good, but I don't think he's great. I don't know. I just don't think they're a great team. I think they're a good team, and they find ways to do things, but I don't think they'll do it against us. Cowboys, I'm going to go with you, James, on this. We say this almost every year. We split. So I'm assuming we're going to split this year as well. Washington, I've been racking my brain. I'm going to be real with you, George.
Y'all split.
I saw your face, George. You like, what he gonna say?
Know it. Y'all split. Just say it.
I mean, look, I think that we should be able to sweep y'all, but last year, y'all fought us, bro. Y'all whooped our ass without winning the fight. I'll say that much. Y'all beat our butt without winning the fight. So I am a little bit worried. And with Jaden Daniels, that's gonna be tough, bro. That's gonna be tough. So I'm gonna say right now that we beat y'all at home, and let me keep thinking when I get to the away.
I'm just so happy. I'm just so happy we got Jaden Daniels over Drake Mayo. We talked about that during the show. It just Jaden Daniels more of a threat. He instills more fear. You have no idea what's going to happen with him. That's why I'm excited about the year. It'll be fun.
I mean, that's the whole thing. Jaden Daniels. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It'll be very interesting.
I agree with you. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I agree with you, George, right there. That's spot on. That
Yeah.
I don't care. I didn't have that great feeling about Drake May. I'm not saying he's not going to be a good quarterback, but I wanted you to take Drake May. I wanted you to take Drake May. I was mad when you did. When you took Daniels, I said, Lord, I don't want to deal with another athletic quarterback in this damn division. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah,
I wanted y'all to take it.
Drake May's one-dimensional, even though he's somewhat athletic. He can scramble for a couple of yards, like Josh Allen or something. Like Jay Daniels is a legitimate threat. Like we have no idea how they're going to deploy him. Right? He could be like an RP or running quarterback. He could be Lamar Jackson. We have no idea what they're going to do. So that's why it's so exciting. I'm pumped for it.
I wanted y'all to take a kicker. If we're talking about what we wanted to be taking, I wanted y'all to take a kicker.
Yeah.
So Rams, no Aaron Donald. They're a different team. They're going to be in a position that you guys are in pretty soon. I think that soon enough, they're going to have to hit that reset and really try and recoup some assets because they don't have anything really. I mean, they got Puka Nacua. They got Cooper. Really, I feel like I'm missing something with this team. Like, I feel like I should be more.
They got a few players.
Pretty good running back.
They got a few players. Yeah, they got a few players. I mean, their draft class, they didn't have a lot of draft picks, but they hit on their draft. Okay, so they're not as bad. Obviously, I think Matthew Stafford is the one that really tilts it because he's older now. So that's what makes them feel like they're old and they lost a lot. But I don't care. I mean, I still think your boy's a good coach, man. He's a good coach.
Man. He's real sharp, 100%.
He's a good coach, man.
Mm-hmm. And I think he's going to have to prove that over the next couple of years. Because, I mean, Sean McVay, you had every number one quarterback in the freaking history of the NFL, it feels like. So he's got to make something shake. One Super Bowl. Let me ask y'all that before I move on. Do y'all think that's enough? Looking back at Sean McVay was like, he was the guy. He was the guru. He was the smartest man in football. And he had two number one quarterbacks, and he has one Super Bowl, gave up all his draft picks, gave up all this capital for one Super Bowl. If you're a Rams fan and you're sitting where you are now, was it all worth it?
Yep.
I think if you win a Super Bowl, it's always worth it. I think James getting the same point is what I'm saying. They won one, they went to another. People forget about that.
Went to another with Jared Goff.
Yeah, and they lost with the Patriots. So they got the two, they won one. I think with McVay, you can't count him out because he's sharp, man. The Rams are fighting last year with Puka Nacua, with Kyren Williams, with people that you don't even heard of before. He got them playing at an all-pro level. So I'm all about McVay. I like him a lot.
I'm agree with George on that. I think McVay is a hell of a coach. Like you said, he came over there with the Rams. He took them with Jared Goff when Jared Goff they were saying Jared Goff was nothing. When they said Jared Goff when they said Jeff Fisher wrecked his career, he came and rebuilt him back up and took him to the chip. All right. And then he gets rid of him, makes a trade, and gets a guy who we all said, oh, man, Matthew Stafford just hella talented, but he ain't never doing nothing. You got to see he took him who ain't never won nothing, and they were saying he was just a great, athletic. I mean, just a great quarterback for him, but he ain't no winner. What did he do? He brought him over in they won. So hell no, I ain't,
like 30, 35 touchdown steals. Crazy.
I ain't mad at no Sean McVay. Get me to a couple Super Bowls and won one. I'm cool. You can stay here because look, he got them into the playoffs last year, and they had lost all that talent, and he got them right back in the playoffs, dog. So you got to look at that. He brought them right back, and he's a hell of a coach. You get him any kind of decent talent, he gonna win games.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, you're right. You ain't wrong. I mean, as an Eagles fan, now that we finally won one, I had to set myself back and be like, where was I 2016? And you're right. You give me one and I would have shut the hell up. You give me one, I felt like that one would have carried me through the rest of my life. But no, I agree. Y'all right. But it's going to be a good game. It should be a good game. I do think that we can win that game. It is what it is. We've had good fights against the Rams when they've had better teams and we've won. So I think we should be able to win. The Ravens, I don't think we're going to win this game. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I think that they're just going to run all over us. I still don't know who we have at linebacker. I mean, look, on paper, maybe this looks good. Maybe, you got Devin White. Hopefully he's something. You got Jeremiah Trotter. Hopefully he's something. But you got Jeremiah Trotter and Nakobe Dean, who combined, I don't think, reach the top of a fridge. So I don't know how we plan on stopping Derrick Henry. I just think this might be a loss. I hope that I'm wrong. I will say about this game, if we win this game, depending on how the rest of the season goes prior to it, like if we're a good team, if we can beat the Ravens, I feel really good about this team going into the playoffs, especially at that point. Now the Panthers, I think we blow them out. I'm gonna be real with you. I don't think that they're a good team. I just don't think they're good. I don't think they're well coached. I don't think that they're anything really. So I think that we blow them out. The Steelers, somebody said it. Yeah, the Eagles and the Steelers back in our first winning season actually ever as a franchise was back in like World War II, I think. And we had to combine with the Steelers to be the Steagles. That was the first winning season.
I had no idea about that. That's cool.
Yeah. It's not that cool. That's kind of frustrating that you needed the Steelers to get there. We were literally like 6-5. It was barely a winning record. But yeah, I mean, we had a winning record with them. But you know, there's love lost. I would say that we're a rivalry, obviously, because of Pennsylvania, but I don't know if it goes that deep for a lot of fans. I mean, I think we're going to get up for that game and we're going to be excited for that game, but not a lot of people are talking about that game. I think it's going to be a hell of a matchup. I mean, Russell Wilson has given us fits. He has given us fits over the years. So this could go either way. I think that the Steelers are still a very young team. They're still, I mean, obviously Russell Wilson isn't young, but they're still a team on the upswing. They're still trying to figure out what they're going to be, you know, for years to come. So I feel confident in that game. Depending on where we are, Washington could sneak up and beat us. I will say that. Yeah. I don't know how else. I feel like that we could sweep them, but they could. Especially if we're in a position right now. We're at week 16. If we're at a position that you're saying, all right, you already have your number 1 seed, or you already have, the NFC East locked up. I could see us maybe resting guys or doing something stupid because the Eagles like to do that. But it's going to be hard to because of the last 3 games. You know, you got Washington, you got Dallas, you got New York. Probably going to have to win some of those games to tie things up. And my thought process is if you're splitting with Dallas, you're probably going to need that Washington game. So that's the only reason why I think we should be able to sweep y'all, and we will. But the Cowboys, again, I do think that we split with y'all. But the Cowboys I think they're a hangnail away from being a disaster this year. And that's not even me trying to hate. I really do. I think if something goes wrong, if people start, doubting Dak or something like that,
I can't go away from that in the sense of you have a lame duck coach. That's why only reason why I say that. If you had your coach and you extended him, which this is where I get frustrated. When they had Jason Garrett, he was there 10 years. His first 3 years, he was 8-8. His last year, when he was on you better win or you're not going to be here, supposedly, he goes out and gets 12-4. He gets a 5-year deal for having 1 winning season and 3 mediocre seasons, right? Mm-hmm. So why wouldn't you, if you have Mike McCarthy, get you 3 straight 12-5 win seasons? And trust me, I hate the way them playoffs ended, but you haven't had 3 straight 12-win seasons since the 90s. So why wouldn't you extend him based just on that?
Yeah.
And James, I'm telling y'all firsthand, having a lame duck coach, if the season turns awry, things get crazy, man. It's why Washington started off 2-0 last year. They ended the season 4-13. Things just got nasty. Finger pointing, people were mad, people were walking out. It was bad, man. So if Cowboys start off slow, that's a red flag for y'all, for real.
Yeah. And I mean, because it's this, I don't like it. I hate when the coach is in a lame duck status because you have the unknown. I mean, he already went and got an agent already for him just in case. You get what I'm saying? For, just in case it happens. And I just don't like that you're trying to say, oh, we're a better team. We're trying to take the next level and go to a Super Bowl. But even though when you had those bad appearances in the playoffs, you're trumpeting, Stephen Jones is trumpeting the 12-5 win seasons. Oh, well, we just got to do better in the playoffs. So why wouldn't you just go ahead and extend Mike McCarthy? Who else is out there? Are you waiting for an old-ass Bill Belichick? You get what I'm saying? You don't know what coach is going to be out there next year. This guy has one for you. Yes, we haven't took the next step in the playoffs, and it sucks. But I just don't like the uncertainty that you have on your coach, because if he doesn't win, then you might have a whole new system. We don't know. I can agree with you with that, Joe. That's why I sit there and say I don't know about my team this year, because there's too much uncertainty with the coach, with the quarterback, with your receiver. There's just too many uncertain things. You have a new face on defense. I just don't know. Like you said, if it starts out where we're losing early, what happens? That's something that's real to really be talked about. Like people don't want to talk about it, but that's a real situation.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people waiting for a paycheck. You know, I know y'all say y'all gonna pay them, but like Micah Parsons, CD Lamb, their price is going up by the day. So, you know, I will say this though, as much as I hate the Cowboys and everything, and I think James can agree with me, and even George probably agrees with me here. I think we all think that the Cowboys are a better team than probably Jerry Jones does right now, because he's not putting anything into this team to make it even better. So I think that you have pieces, but
don't say Jerry. Don't say Jerry. I'm blaming Steven. So don't say
Jones.
Jerry. I'm gonna say more Steven, because Jerry is older now. You feel me? And it's just his money. So I feel like Steven is more behind the scenes on doing things, because we've seen the history of Jerry Jones. People may get mad at him, and I made a video yesterday. People get frustrated with him because he just be talking so much stuff. You want him to shut up sometimes. But you ain't never hated on that man since he picked up the Cowboys for not being aggressive. He all through history, he has been aggressive. Like if he feels like the team ain't there, he'll make a crazy trade. He'll go out there and get a free agent. He will go out there and do something to say, hey, we need to keep this team going. I don't feel that same approach with Steven Jones. It's more of a conservative approach. Like, no, we're just going to wait. We don't have to do all that. And that approach, in my opinion, don't work. The conservative approach in any kind of game don't work. When you just sit on your hands, you'll be competitive, but you ain't going to get over the top. I just feel like it permeates. I'm going to just go back to these Mavericks again, y'all. I don't want to just say it, but look at what the Mavericks did. I know football and basketball is different, but if you're talking about your front office still being aggressive, that is not. The Dallas Mavericks missed the playoffs last year, right? They tanked the last part of the year to get in a position to get a good draft pick. They got Derek Lively. They went out and got people in the offseason. Then, even when the offseason, it may not have been clicking, they made another shrewd trade to get their team even better as they got ready to head for the playoffs. That had got them over the hump. The aggressiveness. They never stayed pat. If they would have stayed pat, they would not be in the Western Conference Finals probably with a Grant Williams instead of a P.J. Washington. You know what I'm saying? And without a Daniel Gafford. They said, no, we're going to do this. And look how the reward is. 2 Western Conference Finals in 3 years, dog. That's because they stayed aggressive. I want my front office with the Cowboys to do the same thing. You don't got to go crazy spending things, but if you're trying to get over the hump, you have to make some shrewd moves, and I haven't seen those.
The NFL is tough, James, because it's built to stay in the middle. It's built to be a 7, 8, 9 win team. But if you're stuck in the middle, you're going to be there forever. It's purgatory, right? Yeah. So you do have to tank, right? So Washington, the same thing. They tanked intentionally to get up to number 2 to get a quarterback. They traded away Montez Sweat to get more draft capital. They did a lot what the Mavericks were doing. So I do like that turnaround as well. Quick question for him. Sorry I'm interrupting you, Joe.
You're good.
Ranking, so Steve Jones, I found it interesting, right? In regard to like priority, like what's his relationship with Dak Prescott, and how would he rank? Like, do you think he would rank the priority free agents? Do you think it'd be Dak, Parsons, Lamb, or what do you think? What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, everybody should already know my thoughts on Stephen Jones with Dak Prescott. I don't feel like he believed in him. Okay.
That's my impression as I'm catching. Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't feel like it. And then I asked my guy who went and got Trey Lance. Was it Jerry Jones or Stephen Jones? My guy said Stephen Jones. So that just, to me, okay, then that just proves it. Jerry didn't go out and get him. Stephen went out behind the back and went and got a Trey Lance. Why? Why'd you get him? I feel like that's leverage. So if you're talking about who's going to get paid first, common sense would say quarterback, the receiver, and then Parsons, because Parsons still has a year left. That's the sense it would make. Get your quarterback taken care of first. CD Lamb next, and then Parsons. But they said they are not the trendsetters they're not market setters. So that's why CD Lamb, in my opinion, is not signed, because you don't see Justin Jefferson signed. They always wait for some bigger guy to get signed, and then they look at that as the bar, and then we'll see what we need to do from that point. With Dak, I just feel like they don't like his agent. The agent don't really care for them, and they haven't had serious talks. So I don't know, bro. That whole situation between them is just confusing, because I feel like when I see a lot of these other quarterbacks, and yes, players got to fight for their money in Dallas, but when I see a lot of these top franchise quarterbacks, you don't hear nothing in the media. You hear quiet, and the next thing you know, signed. Let's go,
Yeah.
make it happen.
Yeah,
But we
yeah.
always hear this back and forth with Dallas and Dak, and that's why I said, bro, just leave. Why don't you just trade him and get some picks from him and just stop all this dumb stuff talking and go get somebody else and move on from it. So if you're gonna keep him, dog, surround him with stuff and make it a team where you feel like this is a Super Bowl ready team. And I don't feel like that's being done. That's the frustrating one part with me. If you're saying he's your franchise guy, then build this damn team around him so it can be easy for him to get in there and don't put all that extra weight on him. So when it doesn't work, people are pointing the fingers at him like he's the main problem.
I love it. I like all this. I ain't gonna lie. Y'all need to keep being conservative, keep not signing people. I like it. I like it. Now, somebody said Mike is getting all the franchise tags. I hope not for that. As a Penn State fan, I hope he gets a contract. Maybe not with y'all, but it is what it is. So I mean, look, the Eagles, I have them going 13-4. I know people probably gonna disagree with me. Usually the last 2 years I said 14-3.
You ain't getting that. But you got new coordinators too.
The only teams I have us losing to right now is the Ravens, Cincinnati, the Cowboys, and then one free throw. I mean, it could be Washington, it could be the Steelers, it could be, I think we lose one game that we're probably supposed to win. So I mean, other than that, I think that this is a pretty favorable schedule. I don't think anybody on here
11-6.
I'll take 11-6. If 11-6
sounds about right, James. I agree with you, man.
So who would your 6 losses be? I don't even see 6 losses here.
Okay, I think Pittsburgh can beat y'all for real. I think Washington can beat y'all because they always Rams. Dude, you got a lot of teams that can beat y'all, dog. Like y'all ain't that squad. Yeah, the Packers can beat y'all week 1, bruh. Let's keep it real. They really can. Okay. You sure about that?
I'm not sure about that, but I'm going to say
it. George, you heard it here first. I called it upset.
I did hear it.
They beat y'all. We wrote it down.
You called like 14 upsets last year, all right?
Hey, I called my Mavs upset in OKC.
George just saying here, like, what is basketball? What is? I don't even know what playoff basketball is right now.
I know. Yeah, it's so far removed, man. It's crazy. But go ahead.
It's annoying. It's annoying. So our light predictions. These are, first round predictions. Way too early predictions. We just wanted to put some numbers on a piece of paper, I guess. George has his Commanders respectfully going 8-9, which I think would be a great first season for that team. Cowboys, James has them going 10-7. And the Eagles, Joe. 13
Joe. Over realistic. Just the Homer fan guy.
I'm always realistic. 13-4. Y'all should have saw my video. When I did my video about my record predictions, I had us going like 17-0.
I know. I seen that. I was ready to get all up in your chat and just say something crazy to you.
Hey, I like this team. Like the first year we did this record prediction, James, I was right on the money. You were too. So now that we got George, I think that we're gonna go 3-0. You know what I'm saying? I think we're gonna go 3-0. I like this. Okay. I like this. Okay. Yeah, Giants aren't gonna have more wins than anybody on this.
We ain't even mentioning no Giants.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna have.
This show is funny. I love that. Giants aren't even part of the show. It's hilarious.
They don't even deserve it right now. If they win a game or two, maybe we'll invite somebody. But I don't even know. I don't even know at that point.
Yeah, you got to win some games before you get on the best of enemies, dog.
Oh God, you got to be an enemy before. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm good.
No enemy when you win 3 games. You ain't no enemy.
Exactly. When you win a couple games, we'll talk. But shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Over 320 people in here throughout the show. So we appreciate you guys as always, just rocking with us, chilling. James is in the sun. He's basking. He's probably on like a hammock right now.
Yeah, I'm just chilling. It's hot out here. It feels good though, dog. Like it's hot out here. It's like 86 degrees. I love it. I'm baking out here, but dog, ain't nothing better than sitting outside in the sun and chilling. I'm about to get a cold one.
You know what's better than that is getting a cold one. I gotta go work. Y'all both get the day off. I gotta go work. I can't wait. And by I can't wait, I'm gonna hate it. But at the end of the day, man, I'm trying to think if there's anything. I will be. I'm starting to train Monday for PFF to do
My
data
guy,
analyst.
my nerd, my
Yeah.
nerd.
I will be the
My
show's nerd.
nerd.
I will be the show's nerd. So,
Yes.
you know,
I
pray for
love
me
it.
as always. Hopefully that goes through well and everything goes well. But I'm excited for
Oh,
that.
we're gonna
So,
get inside trader information now, George. We get
you already
inside
know.
trader information now on them numbers.
Shout out to
stuff. I love it. We good.
yeah, shout out to my guys over at PFF who helped me get this opportunity. I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. But is there anything y'all want to say to these beautiful people before we get out of here?
Yo, check me out on Jim Nagy on Wednesday, man. Come on the show. If you guys have a prospect you're interested in, we love the questions, man. I'm not like Commanders exclusive. Come out, have a good time on us on Wednesday. That'd be cool.
Definitely.
My thing is, I just appreciate. I love having George on here. I hope you can be on here every week, man. It really makes the show great in depth, and I just feel like the show is going to be even better if you can be on here during the season, man. Because I think we can really rock. Me and Joe have a great time when we do our during the season. It was epic all last year. The rants, they was epic last year. So adding you to the fold. Oh, it got crazy. So adding you to the fold, man. I just feel like it's really going to continue to up what we're trying to bring to the table. So I'm just really glad that you came on here. Really appreciate your knowledge and everything. And I'm just excited for the season and ready to get it going.
Dude, just real quick, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I appreciate that, man. I'm happy to be here. You guys are my people. You guys know that. We've been family for years. I'm happy to be on the show. I'll be here as often as I can, every Sunday if I can. It'll be awesome, man.
Yeah, and shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Y'all are saying some really kind words to the newest member of the family. So we appreciate y'all. And thank you to the chat for always being even keel. You know, we've had crazy moments, we've had crazy times, we've cussed each other out, we've loved each other, we've hated each other, but it's always a good time. So I really, really do appreciate that. And shout out to Drew. He said the Giants need the Best of Sympathy podcast.
Right.
So they might need that. They might need that. But yeah, shout out to all y'all. We'll see y'all back here probably next Sunday. We'll work it out. We'll put up the schedule so you guys will know. But 337 people, I better see 337 likes across all the platforms.
Right.
We love y'all. We love y'all. We love y'all. We love y'all. Football is so close. But other than that, y'all know what it is. Now I got to fix my outro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm Joe. That's my dog, James. That's my dog, George. And we are the best of enemies. Peace.
We're brothers. We're happy and we're